I'm just inviting a few people. Please bear with me. Just a few more people to invite. Thank you for being here. Good day, everyone. I was going to say good evening, but it is evening in parts of the world. So if you're joining me, welcome. This is one of the most difficult videos for me. In order to make this video, I had to consult with a dear friend of mine, because like-minded people and people that are concerned for the world and see beyond the veil do consult with one another, because these issues are weighing on the souls of human beings. And you're a soul if you're watching this, and you have thoughts going through your mind, and you have feelings in your heart. There's no easy way for me to discuss this. However, I made the decision to go forward because there is oppression in the world, and no one comes out a sole winner when governments and the right to live and innocent people are involved, and it's happening all over the globe. It's not just one region. And in all regions, we have people we care about, the everyday person, the person that is inflicted with the everyday challenge to survive. And people don't want to hear this, because when people hear this, then they have to look inside. And I'm not going to get into who's right or who's wrong, or how it started or where it begins, because that is useless in this time and space. What is useful is to understand that people are making decisions, because oppression is felt throughout the lands, and the people who are oppressed are standing up and fighting back in all lands. So, what do you think will happen when all people who have had enough of the afflictions imposed on them will start fighting each other, fighting wars that are filled with cultural hatred, hatred for brother and sister, in the name of God, where we can't even coexist because we are under a world order of leaders who strategize to pit people against one another, and we're cruel because we want control, and we're stuck in the middle. And as we're stuck in the middle, people are oppressed. And how do we know how it feels when there's bombing in the lands, where there is oppression of innocent people of all races, colors, and creeds that are caught up in this? So we could say that this is the final order of business, because this must happen. We could say that love wins. I believe that most of us have been caught up in a program that has kept us in the dark for so long that the hatred that we spit on one another is in the search for freedom, of freedom that we don't know in our soul. So who do I hold accountable? In my own personal views. How do I deal with it? There is no easy way to deal with it, because there are generational traumas and the quest to control, and innocent people that want to live in peace or caught up in this worldwide genocide. It's a worldwide genocide. And I have people on all sides that I love and I care for. And I understand their position, and I understand the world, and I understand how they want to live every day. But then when you look at the oppression that they feel in their hearts, do you not think that they will not risk their lives in order for them to free what binds them in their soul, as they are pawns in a chess game that humanity has bestowed upon one another because we became blinded by our own programming to believe in leaders that should have the best of leadership for the people. So yeah, it is difficult, because now I have to look at all angles, and I have to say, what stand do I take? Because it's either or with people. And yesterday, a friend of mine encountered the feeling of this overwhelmness in herself, and she put on her page amnesty for all people. Because in this political warfare, if there's not some type of breath, because we are all caught up in it, then we are really not getting the bigger picture. So what is the bigger picture? Every one of you have an opinion. Every one of you take a side, including myself. I have an opinion, and the belly of the beast is behind everything. And I call it the belly of the beast because humanity is killing one another for the wars of people in power. And are these wars even justifiable? And can you talk about it in a way that leaves us in a chance for solution? Most people can't. Most people become so violent. They don't want you to exercise a true birthright, and neither do people want to live in peace. Because if you all wanted to live in peace, then you would take accountability with your governments. But you're so afraid of your governments, and you're so afraid that you are going to miss the promised land, that your soul is already dead. And you don't get that, and we don't get that. I want to look at my friend in Israel who has to make a makeshift bomb shelter in a closet, and she is practicing awareness, but the toll is on her, and you could see it in her face. You better believe it brings pressure, and it brings pressure to all of us. So do we bend at the knee, and what is the answer? And this will never end. This will never end in a way that people are going to be satisfied with, because it's all or nothing. Then I say to you, if you're afraid of extinction, but you are not afraid to war with one another, then do we just wipe it all out? And when you bring something to the ground and people are stuck in the very existence of how they have to live life, do you have empathy? And when one won't give, the other won't give, and there's terrorism all over the world, and it's happening all over the world. But we focus on what the media puts in front of us, and I don't trust the American media. And once if they are so pro one thing, then I would be hesitant of what I believe and what I don't believe. But I do believe that there are people under oppression, and I do believe that war is at hand, and I do believe that it's not stopping, and if you don't rise up, you will not witness any type of salvation. And for those of you who say, well, this is the last of the paradigm, yes, I understand it's a paradigm that is crumbling, but where are the people of the enlightened and awakened community rising up and changing it and going out there and saving their brothers and sisters? Everything is done in war, protest. And it's a war because people will turn on each other. And you can't blame people for being oppressed when they are oppressed. You can't blame people for hating one another when they know no other way. And it is a way of life. And you look at the agenda and you see the sides that are taking positions, and it is laughable. It is laughable in the United States of America, of what we have lost in leadership and moral values, and what we allow. That, what do you think is going to happen? So I'm very conflicted about this, because like I said, I love people that live in these parts of the land. I love people in my land that are different from each other, like night and day. But if we don't turn around and move forward, and if we don't turn around and say, there is no easy way out of here, and there is casualties, and there is death, and you are seeing it, and you in full bloom, and you have to separate what is propaganda and what is the truth. And when you are doing this, you're working through your own traumas and just trying to get through everyday life, and you have nowhere to turn to, because your greatest accomplishment is maybe getting through the day. Maybe just getting through that day. Because you don't understand, you know that you may not be promised that day. And when people are willing to go to death for what they believe in, no matter what they believe in, that is another way to depopulate the world of the people that feel oppressed. So tell me, do you want to live in a war zone? We haven't seen it on our shores as intense as other part in the world, but oppression is happening every day. You see people from all the lands rising up. Not only are they fighting within their own tribal communities, they are standing up against oppression. So much so that they are so tired of being beaten down that they are willing to risk their life for it. So how easy could this conversation be for me? Especially since I am evolving and moving forward. It's not easy, because nobody really wants to hear it, because they want to say how they are contributing, and people are contributing. But they can't look you in the eye and say, before we contribute anything, our people, innocent people all over the world, are oppressed. And we see it more and more so that they are willing to risk their life. And who knows who's right and wrong in this leadership that leads you down the tubes, because we can't argue in those areas, because we'll never win. But we can rise up, and as we rise up, we could take down hatred through saying no more. But people will have to compromise, and people can't always get their ways. And the retribution that you seek will have to be in a way that you are satisfied with the outcome. And when you have generational hatred and cultural hatred, and when you are in war zones and you witness death to that magnitude, you're not right anymore. Your soul starts to break inside. And then we say, where is the love? And there is a lot of love, but most people are very traumatized with their own lives. And now that these things are hitting the shores of every land, people are getting afraid. So as they are getting afraid, they're either going to step back or lose it completely and just go forward and fight till the death. And there are people that will fight to the death. You will see a lot of carnage. You will witness, in the name of God, people justifying their birthrights. And there is not an issue with any of us justifying our royal birthright, because I believe I am of royal birthright, because I have the gift of exercising awareness and actually making sense of it. And that in itself is very powerful. And they don't want you to understand that, because then you kind of pick and choose, and you could see through things, and you'll understand the plight of the people on this planet, including ourselves, and you're willing to do something about it. It's very scary, and there is no easy way out. I'll keep saying it. And that doesn't mean, because there's no easy way out, that I do not believe in evolution. If I didn't believe in evolution and a God that is connected with nature, and not the gods that everyone is fighting for, and they are prostitutionalizing, and yes, I step away from all that. I do not believe in that God. I believe that until that happens, until we could exercise within us the right and the development of who we truly are, we'll be led to the slaughterhouse. And I'm sorry, I'm not willing to go there. So yeah, is there an easy plight? No, because death is upon us. Will we see more and more if we don't take it back and rise up? We will see more and more. And there is no easy way to rise up, because we're in a bubble that seems to be constricting us more and more. And when you see a small state going up against what they're going up against, they are stronger than you think, right? When you see small tribes rising up against their governments, they are stronger than you think. When you see our people across the land suffering apartheid, the innocent people, what happens is that you begin to understand that mankind is against one another because they want to break free. And without education and without knowledge within one's mindset, we will keep falling in a trap that leads to the commonwealth of the people's demise. Not the elite people, the commonwealth, the everyday people. It's heartbreaking out there. People are like a volcano erupting, not only in their actions, in their spirit. What do they believe? I believe in the betterment of humanity. I believe we have to be strong. I believe no one will like this conversation, because every religion on this planet teaches in the name of that religion to kill so that oppression stops. But really, the everyday people are oppressed by these very same rules that keep us in bondage. What about the great minds of this world coming together and saying that this is not about the power to suppress, but it's about the power to live and to have a moral compass? Because people want it both ways. They want to have immoral compass, and then they want justification. But they don't want to go inside the heart space where mind, body, and soul connects, and understand that we have real problems on this planet, and that the division through cultural, creed, caste, different ways of doing things have caused so much division, and the true culprits are hidden. But now they're coming out because they want full power and they want your soul. And the innocent people that are dying have no choice but to feel in a way that sometimes creates this illusionment in their own mind and heart. Wouldn't you feel that way? Don't we feel that way? So I will be the first to take this uncomfortable conversation and speak about what people are really feeling and understanding all sides, because you have to see through the veil. And the veil is lifted, and humanity is dying on all sides. And it is my birthright and your birthright to stop it, because we will unite together when all people of the land who are tired of being oppressed say no more and put down different solutions. But we're so used to being productive cattle for a system that we think that we could beat, that we're so far in the matrix that even our spirituality is lost. And I am a daughter of the universe, because I believe that we are so much more than we've become. And yes, I understand about evil. I understand about standing up. I understand about having an opinion and taking sides and being conflicted, because I'm all those things right now. But I also understand that I'm human and I want to live. And I will risk insulting people because it's the very uncomfortable conversations that lead people astray. This is not going away. You have your information. This is very messy. Before any type of order comes, the mess has to be dealt with. But whose hands are you putting the mess in? The ones that you think will lead you out of the abyss but are putting you in the abyss? Or fairness for people to live in all lands with one another without terrorists of the mind, body, and soul, whoever they might be, whatever side they are on, killing our people. You have enough evidence. You can't tell me whatever side you're on, whatever land you're in, that the witnessing of apartheid will not rattle your soul. It absolutely will. And our people who are innocent are dying because there's no way out. Because we lost our own spirituality. We lost our own connection. We gave into a God that we thought loved us, but in that name of the God, we thought that our own culture was the one that rose above, and yet through that we killed all cultures. I'm not part of that. That's a fake system. That's a fake God. I do not believe in that God. I do not believe in the God of propaganda, because if we continue to give into that, we will continue to default. When I look at my people who are dying, who are afraid, who are stressed out because of the current events of this world, as I am keeping it together, as I am living in the matrix and going forward, I will not be silenced. And yes, it was difficult for me, because now I have to tell a lot of people that, you know what? This is worldwide. It doesn't matter what you think. You are witnessing it, and your opinion is really, at this point, your opinion at this point is not going to solve anything. What you have to say is that we're in a real pickle, and death is upon us, and there is goodness and light. And in order to live in harmony, who do we have to go up against? Because it's our people going up against each other, because they live in different regions. And as they live in different regions, they live in the lands where they are programmed. And it's very difficult not to hate when you're under suppression. And we are not above it, because we are suppressed as well. Our conversations are suppressed. We're distracted by who we think has power in a spiritual sense to save us. Meanwhile, we are not using that power that we have within ourselves to exercise love, because we're afraid. We're afraid what we will encounter if we actually have to be heartfelt. And there are people that will kill instantaneously, because there is a wicked agenda going on. So yeah, it's very difficult for me, because I'm sympathetic on a human end. I'm sympathetic on an end where I see beyond the veil, and I see the death and the carnage. I understand how strategies work. And as I understand this, I will speak up, because it's not right. You know, when I was discussing this, how difficult this was for me, and what direction I will take as I am sorting through this, as I am not only keeping myself balanced in my everyday life, but sharing what I see and what I feel. I understand beyond the veil what the agenda is. And I understand how people could get caught up, and I understand there is no easy way out, and I understand violence is taking place. But we justify all of it because in our quest as nations to rise above it and go with the leadership, we are actually following dynamic forces, because you are telling me that this is all in the name of good when a whole world is falling apart. That doesn't make sense, right? We're diverted because of this distractions. And now that we see the diversion, we have to face our own downfall in humanity. And that's not a bad thing, because we came here to rise up. We came here to stop it. These strategies that are taking place, they were already thought out. Things are being dismantled and destroyed. And I cannot be silenced, because I will offend. There are psychopaths that are ruling this world, all in the name of justification, while we are the commodity that dies. So you can't tell me Palestinian or Jew or African American or European or any culture that is out there, Indian, that I might not be verbalizing, doesn't feel oppression, because they do. And we are easily giving up. And the Hitler energy is very real. So, I'm standing up. It is my birthright to stand up, and it is your birthright too. And I know that people, this is two different directions. This is the right to live wherever you are living. This is political. This is oppression. I said two different issues. There's several issues, right? This is summed up to genocide. And it's us who is the ones being killed, because we kill each other. We can't conversate. We can't say we were wrong. We can't say we're all screwed up in a worldwide situation. And now that we are seeking the God within, the God in us, how we are going forward, we just keep talking about the same thing, but yet we see in the eyes of our brothers and sisters, right, what the fear is. Because we don't know if we'll even survive this. And there will be casualties, and there will be deaths, and there will be people who are right in their mannerism, and there'll be people who will be wrong, and they'll be good, and they'll be evil, and they'll be this and that. So if we want to preserve, but we're afraid that they're going to blow up, but we're not the world, and if they're not going to do anything, maybe they should just hit the button and extinguish everybody. Maybe they should have the cojones to do that, because this is the fear people live in anyway. Maybe it'll be instantly over, and then we could get to the promised land. Is that what we're waiting for? As we're killing one another? As this generational hate will fester in? Because when you are seeing carnage, that affects you. I know people who have seen carnage. They're not right anymore. They'll tell you they're not right, even though they try to remain balanced, because that is etched in the soul. So what are you not getting? So everybody has an opinion, and everybody has this, and everybody has that, and so do I. But to be real and to be able to speak it like this is really something that hits home in your soul, because you have to decide now. And I'm hoping that you do decide. And when people do not believe what I am speaking of, I can understand that, because I'm not here for that. I'm here to reach the people who do believe, and to understand that the smaller numbers can overcome, because the carnage is in full view. And they're killing each other anyway. Because what is happening is that the flesh will die from the weak, because the men and women who are in power, they are weak. They'll put you up front on their plan to extinguish goes into full force. So I'm in a dilemma here, because I do believe in goodness. I do believe in territorial treaties. I do believe that there is conflict at times that has to be settled. But what's happening on earth, while you have the greatest of nations banding together with their own agenda, is that the people are the commodity. And if their values, right, are not integrated, no one cares. No one cares if to get there, they will kill. So how do you think it's going to happen? We have to make an attempt to understand, even if it is foreign to us in our hearts. We have to make an attempt to get into that foreign part that is resistant to the way of understanding and feel and say, hey, what's happening here? So yes, I'm very short-fused when it comes to the same things being repeated over and over because this has been discussed for a long time, these events that will happen, and still it's ignored. How much longer will you ignore the oppressions of the people? Because you're oppressed as well. I'm oppressed because my hands are tied in certain areas. Because no matter what direction or reasoning that I present, there is such oppression deep-rooted in the minds and fear that death, when it's right before you, gives no meaning to life. And what I am saying is correct. And what I am saying is weighing out on the minds of the people, because people are lost, they're confused, they're running for signs, they're trying to find the balance, but the carnage is all around us that it deteriorates the soul. But I'm telling you, if you work at understanding what you can change and what you can't, but to go forward so we don't become extinguished, I think that we might have a chance to overturn this. It's up to us. I will continue this, but right now I want to stop because it is very, very soul draining, and people are very soul draining. And I understand that people will not agree, and I don't want people to 100% agree. The evidence is all around us, loud and with visual and clear. Look, I am, my friend. Here's to life. Here's to life, Susan. I see. And shalom, peace, mashallah, chindande, 1,000 years to people of all lands. Because if we can't break bread with one another, how do we ever seek harmony in a world order? You would never make it. You would never make it. Shambhala, all these things. Any language that I'm forgetting. Because each language has this in the heart. We are human beings, even though we are culturally different and we lose our way. Our people are oppressed. Governments are corrupt all over the world. Yes, it will have to be worked out. But if we cannot rise up to live in harmony with one another, I don't know. Hit the nuclear button then maybe. Because the hatred is nuclear. Because it rots the inside of your soul. It's just as bad as hitting the button. When you understand that you could unite, you can change it. You can exercise your divine right. I didn't come here for nothing. I didn't come here for nothing. Neither did you. And we can't ignore it anymore. But if you love your people, you're willing to be hated amongst the people to come up here and speak. And I'm willing to be hated. Because I know if one person shows love, it could conquer 10,000 people who hate. Be safe, my people. Think about this and ponder. Because difficulty is amongst all of us. But your heart doesn't have to change. You could get through it. Be easy.